Have you ever felt a distant ache in your heart, a longing for something greater than the everyday world around you? A whisper deep within, urging you to search for a connection beyond what you can see or touch? In today's story, you'll meet Isabella, a young woman whose soul is restless, always yearning for a deeper connection with God. But despite her prayers and efforts, she feels lost. Her heart is full of longing, yet she struggles to find the peace she seeks. When a mysterious old woman crosses her path, offering guidance, Isabella embarks on a journey that will change her life forever. As Isabella steps into the unknown, she learns that growing closer to God isn't just about prayers and rituals, it's about finding stillness, understanding your true self, and opening your heart in ways she never imagined. But will she find what she's searching for? Or is the journey far more complicated than she ever expected? Stay with us to uncover the mystical steps that lead to true spiritual transformation, where the answers to life's deepest questions might not come from what you hear, but from what you feel within. In the town of Aurora, nestled at the foot of a mountain whose peak was always veiled in mist, there lived a young woman named Isabella. She was known for her kindness and a heart that longed for something greater, something beyond the mundane rituals of daily life. Isabella had always felt a calling, an inner whisper that beckoned her toward a deeper understanding of the world and her place in it. Yet, despite her yearning, she felt distant from God. Every prayer she uttered seemed to echo in an empty space, unanswered and unheard. One crisp autumn evening, as Isabella walked home from the town's modest church, a figure appeared before her. It was an old woman, her back hunched with age, but her eyes were sharp and full of wisdom. Her name was Esther, and she was known in the town as a wise woman, someone who had walked a long and winding path of faith, seen many seasons pass, and had become a pillar of strength for those in need. "Child," Esther called softly as Isabella passed her. "You look troubled. What weighs on your heart?" Isabella paused, startled by the woman's sudden appearance, but felt a deep, inexplicable trust. "I feel disconnected," she confessed. "I've prayed, fasted, sought, and yet, I feel so far from God. I long to be closer, to know Him as others do, but I can't find my way." Esther smiled gently, her lips curving into a knowing expression. "The journey to God is not always straightforward, child. Sometimes it is long and winding, and sometimes it is in the quietest moments that His presence is felt the strongest. But you must be willing to seek, truly seek, with all your heart." Isabella looked down, her hands clenching together as she struggled to understand the words. "How do I seek, Esther? What does it mean to truly seek God?" Esther's eyes glinted with a wisdom that only years of experience could bring. "Come with me tomorrow," she said. "I will show you something." The next morning, Isabella met Esther at the edge of the town. They set off toward the mountain, following a narrow trail that led deep into the woods. The trees, though they had shed most of their leaves, still stood tall and silent, as if guarding ancient secrets. Isabella followed Esther in silence, her mind still swirling with questions, yet she felt an undeniable pull to keep walking. After hours of walking, they reached a clearing where a small, serene pond lay. The surface of the water mirrored the sky above, smooth and undisturbed. Esther knelt beside it and motioned for Isabella to do the same. "Sit here," she instructed softly. "Look into the water, but do not just look with your eyes. Look with your soul." Isabella hesitated but then sat down beside her. She gazed into the water, and for the first time in her life, she allowed herself to simply be still. The world seemed to pause around her, the breeze no longer rushing past, the birds silent. In the reflection of the water, she saw not only the sky and trees, but something deeper, an image of herself, not the outward woman she knew, but a version of herself that felt whole, connected, and peaceful. After what seemed like hours, Isabella turned to Esther. "What is this? Why do I feel different?" Esther looked at her with gentle eyes. "This is the first step, my dear. You see, when you seek God, you must first learn to be still. You must quiet the noise around you, clear your mind, and open your heart. In stillness, you begin to hear God's whispers." "But how do I know it's God's voice?" Isabella asked, a hint of doubt in her voice. "The voice of God is not a loud proclamation," Esther replied. "It is a whisper, a nudge deep within your soul, something that resonates with truth. When you seek with humility, when you listen with a heart full of faith, you will know His voice when it speaks." Isabella nodded, her heart still unsure but curious. She felt something shift within her, as though a door had opened just a crack. She wasn't sure where this journey would lead, but for the first time, she was willing to follow wherever it might take her. Days turned into weeks, and Isabella continued to meet with Esther. They would walk the same path, sit by the pond, and practice stillness. Slowly, Isabella's heart began to soften. Her prayers felt more real, and her connection to God seemed less distant. But there was still a part of her that wondered if there was more to this journey. One evening, as they sat in the woods watching the stars emerge in the night sky, Esther spoke again. "You have learned to be still, child. Now it is time to take the next step." Isabella looked at her. "What is it, Esther? What must I do now?" Esther's gaze softened, and she spoke slowly, as if each word held great significance. "It is time for you to look inward. Seek the truth of your own heart. It is in understanding your own soul that you will understand the heart of God." Isabella frowned, unsure of what that meant. "But I already know myself, don't I?" "Ah," Esther smiled, "you know the surface of yourself. But the true self, the soul that is connected to God, often remains hidden beneath layers of fear, pride, and doubt. To know God more deeply, you must know your own heart, your own struggles, and the things that separate you from Him." That night, Isabella lay awake in her bed, her mind racing. What did Esther mean by looking inward? Wasn't she already seeking God? She had prayed, she had been still, she had listened. Yet, there was still an emptiness inside her that she couldn't shake. The next day, as she walked through the town, she noticed the familiar faces of the people she had grown up with. They were all so busy, rushing to work, taking care of children, keeping up with their daily lives. Isabella's heart ached for them. They seemed to be so caught up in the noise of life that they didn't even realize how far they were from God. She thought of the way they never stopped to reflect, never took a moment to be still. And in that moment, Isabella understood something profound. In her quiet reflection, she realized that the very act of seeking God required more than just stillness or prayer. It required a deep and personal transformation. It was about turning inward, confronting the fears and doubts that had always held her back. It was about facing her own brokenness and surrendering it to God. With this newfound understanding, Isabella felt a shift in her heart. She no longer felt like she was simply chasing after God, hoping He would come to her. Instead, she realized that God had always been there, waiting for her to open her heart and let Him in. She went to the church that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden light across the town. She knelt before the altar and whispered a prayer of surrender, of trust. "Lord, I don't have all the answers. I don't know where this journey will take me, but I am ready to follow you." Eyes be easy, that there would be challenges and obstacles. But she was no longer afraid. She had found the key to growing closer to God. It was not about striving, it was about surrendering. As she walked out of the church that night, Isabella felt a peace she had never known before. The spiritual journey was not a destination, but a continuous unfolding. With each step, she would grow closer to God, not by seeking from a distance, but by inviting Him into every moment of her life. And in that moment, she knew, the journey had only just begun. Thank you for joining us on this journey with Isabella. Her story is a reminder that the path to spiritual growth is often a personal one, full of challenges and moments of deep introspection. But it's also filled with peace and transformation when we open ourselves to God. If you found this story inspiring, if it spoke to your heart, then we invite you to take the next step in your own journey. Don't forget to subscribe to Divine Mystery Story, where we continue to explore the mysteries of the divine and share stories of faith, wisdom, and connection. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update, and join our growing community as we seek to walk closer with God each day. Together, let's continue to uncover the mysteries of the divine. Remember, your journey toward God is just beginning.